I'm going to show you how to make a ribeye roast. When selecting a ribeye roast, you can select bone-in or boneless. I often see it on sale during the holidays for $4.99 a pound up to $6.99 a pound. Make sure to select a ribeye roast that has a nice fat cap. That layer of fat is going to serve as the crust. This one I found is a little bare. Sometimes the roast might come with the bones sliced separately. If not, you can choose to slice it off yourself, and that's going to make it easier to slice the roast after it's done cooking. I suggest you make the roast for dinner because it takes some time to let it come down to room temperature, cook it, and rest it. I did not wake up early enough to let the rib roast come down to temperatures. Now I'm going to be a little late for lunch. Letting the roast come down to room temperature allows for even cooking, which is especially important for a large roast. Otherwise, the outside will cook a lot faster than the center. I pat the roast dry and added a generous amount of salt and pepper as seasoning. Depending on the size of your roast, it might take anywhere from 2 to 5 hours or more for it to come down to room temperature. After 3 hours, this 9.5 pound roast was still slightly cold, but most of the chill was taken off. Pat the roast dry again with a paper towel. I cut up some butcher's twine and wrapped it around the roast tightly. This is going to help redistribute the heat evenly throughout the roast while cooking. This will also help keep the bone and the roast intact. I'm using 3 long pieces of string and just tying it into a basic knot. Cut the excess rope. Having the bone will serve as the rack in the roasting pan. If you have a boneless roast, you can place it on a rack and then place that inside the roasting pan. I'm also using softened butter to rub it all around the roast to get it a nice golden brown. I added additional pepper for the crust. Once the oven is preheated to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, add the roast to the middle rack and cook for 15 minutes. Then lower the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then cook the roast for another 15 minutes per pound if you're going for medium rare. When you remove it from the oven, it should be 125 degrees Fahrenheit for its internal temperature. Check the roast about half an hour early just to make sure you don't overcook it. It needs to go back in. I placed it back in the oven to let it finish cooking. You want to use a good thermometer and stick it in the center of the roast. It should be close to 125 degrees for medium rare, and it will go up another 10 to 15 degrees while resting for 20 to 30 minutes. Now I'm going to transport this, and I'm not going to cut it until I get to my sister's house. I really hope that the inside is okay. Ideally, you want to slice it as soon as it reaches the desired temperature. The drive took me about 40 minutes to get there, and we also tented it tightly with foil so that it would not drip in the car. I cut the string off and removed the roast from the bone. My sister's camera does not do this roast justice. Sliced into it and it was a